the audio is on my end issue. We've got Sunny, CEO and founder of IT by Design. So Sunny, welcome to the stream. Are you able to hear me?
I can hear you, Matt. Yes.
Good.
Good morning to you, and good morning to your listeners.
Excellent. Now, Kevin, can you hear us now?
I'm back now.
Okay, good.
Oh my goodness.
It wouldn't be a live show without some technical difficulties starting off right away.
One day we'll get this right. No, I kept hearing like this headset connecting to this computer and my phone, and so yeah, sorry about that. But,
no worries.
We're back.
Yeah. Well, Kevin, why don't you reintroduce yourself now?
My name is Kevin Lancaster, and I am the better half of this, and the better looking half of this dynamic duo of Channel 5. Just kidding there, Matt.
No problem.
Yeah, so this is episode 6. I think we're starting to get into somewhat of a groove. We'll see about that, I guess, at the end of this one. But aside from the technology or technical difficulties, I think we're getting there. But yeah, we're thrilled to be joined by Sunny this morning. And I don't know, Matt, if you, while I was having my technical glitches, if you gave an intro, but I mean, it's got one heck of a background, an amazing story.
No, absolutely. And so in one quick housekeeping, if you're out there listening, we always love to get feedback during the show. You can ask and myself, Kevin, Sunny questions, or just put out comments. Let us know where you're listening in from. That's always fun as well. But Sunny, so for the folks who don't know you, maybe just a quick overview, and then I want to dive into some of your origin story. And I know we definitely want to talk about Build It and how awesome of an event that was, and hear from kind of our 3 different perspectives on how that event went down.
Yeah, so first of all, Matt and Kevin, thank you so much for coming here and being part of ITBD's Build It community here and having those 3 days with us. We truly appreciate your partnership. Thank you so much. And yeah, so my name is Sunny, and I'm the CEO of IT by Design, Master MSP. We are 600 plus people, Master MSP with 3 presence in 3 countries from the delivery point of view, and being able to deliver NOC services to MSPs in all English-speaking countries. And we're based out of Jersey City, and this week is our Build It, and Build It community of practice is still going on, Matt, and Jack Daly and John C. Maxwell's Leadership Academy will end today. And yeah, so this week was all about Build It at IT by Design.
Yeah, I actually got to see. So I had never heard Jack Daly speak until the end of I think the 3rd day. That guy's intense. He brings a lot of energy to the stage.
Iron Man. He's Iron Man.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people had some issues getting home yesterday, so I think there's some people still there. Kevin, I know you got out a little early, but there was a little bit of there was quite a bit of destruction in your neighborhood. Everything good on that side, Kevin?
Yeah, it looks like we dodged a bullet. Our family, our house, but our neighbors just down the hill from us, they were, unfortunately, they took the brunt of the impact of this EF2 tornado that ripped through Maryland. It started, I guess, maybe a couple miles south of us and cut a path straight north through Edgewater, right over the South River into Annapolis across West Street. And so I think it was a total of 11 miles long, like 200 yards wide. And so that was it was interesting. I knew the weather was starting to turn, and so I left a little early on Wednesday to get back here. And I got back here just in time to get my my chainsaw out and try to help out where I can. But fortunately, at least for the folks in our area, we didn't lose any lives. And I guess unlike up there in Jersey and in New York City, and sounds like it was devastating with the floods. And so hope this isn't the new normal, but yeah, so it was at least from here where all is well, so far today. So
gotcha.
Yeah,
and I want to say thank you to George for tuning in from Minneapolis. So actually, Sonny, I was originally going to start with the origin story, but Build It is so fresh on our minds, and so many people have been posting about it. I don't, and I think we'll get all three of our perspectives, but maybe just for starting things off for you, I mean, you've been planning it probably for a year, maybe now 2 years, since the other one last year had to go purely virtual. I guess talk about that experience of seeing an event start off as an idea, and how you felt like it, the energy and the excitement from both the MSPs and the vendors, and how you felt it went off this week.
Yeah, no. So first of all, my heart goes to families here in New Jersey and New York. I know Kevin's neighbor was impacted, and one of my YPO friend here, his entire factory is underwater right now in North Jersey. A lot of families are impacted here, and our heart goes to those families, and we are here to help. If anyone needs help, we are here in Jersey City, and any resources that we have, we can make them available for our MSP community. Anyone that needs help, we are here to help. And so with the Build It, Matt, it was 2019. It was our first Build It event, and with John C. Maxwell coming in, and last year we had to go virtual. This year, team did an amazing job, and it was like, it was so kind of moving for me to see that how team kind of planned and executed the entire plan and gave that really Wall Street experience with a big heart. And that is how I felt, that energy that everyone was saying that Sunny, every single team member is treating us like royals. And we are so pleased and we're so happy that we are here, and the content is kind of world class with all the channel subject matter experts like Gary Vee, to Jack Daly, to Dr. Larry Little, to all the cybersecurity experts in the channel, Arlen type of people. So every single person out there was part of it, where they are actively involved in the MSP community. And I'm so grateful that my team planned and executed, and everything worked out really well, even from the weather point of view. I think we feel so blessed that the day we had our Statue of Liberty event, the weather was nice. It was really, it was hard. It was going to be hard. It was going to be difficult for us to handle if that event was planned for Wednesday rather than Tuesday. Yeah. Because Wednesday was, it was so rainy evening. And so we got so lucky and so, so blessed that Monday, Tuesday, it was like, those outdoor activities with food trucks on Monday and statue evening experience on Tuesday, that everything went well from the things that were not under our control. So we just feel so grateful, so blessed that we were able to really build it this week in this type of environment with COVID and everything, and it kind of exceeded our expectations. And what I'm hearing from the channel friends is that they just felt so much love, and the quality, it exceeded their expectations.
Yeah, I look, you couldn't have done a better job, a more masterful job on the logistics. I mean, just that whole setup, the hotel location, the proximity to your offices, the food trucks, and the logistics of the buses getting over to the ferry to go to the island. That was incredible. So well done. And it was, all along the way, from the first day on through Wednesday, I would walk through the halls and I'd see Cam just shuffling people around, like acting as traffic cop, and just you guys just did an amazing job. And I think we're seeing a progression, right? And we'll see if there's some bumps in the road here, coming into the fall, but you're seeing a progression or a march back to physical events. And you guys did a fantastic job. I think the vendors, there was a buzz in the vendor area on the trade show floor. I think there was a lot of engagement. So the nice thing about I guess where I am today is that I don't have to wear a jersey, and maybe I wear my venture mentor jersey, but I could walk the halls and just observe, walk the floor and observe. And it was great to see the interaction with and how engaged the conversations were with the MSPs and the vendors. And so I think that was That was great because oftentimes you have breakout sessions, and then you're trying to shuffle people back into the exhibitor halls and create that engagement and buzz, and it was just happening. And I think part of that was just the logistics, the setup, and people just genuinely wanted to learn, and there were some really great vendors there. So I think all in all, it was a A++. I mean, you guys did just a fantastic job.
Thank you. And if I may, Matt, jump in a little bit here. So one thing that here, what we kind of practice and preach, Kevin, and thank you for recognizing that, and thank you for sharing that feedback. That ITBD, the way we kind of build this community here internally, is that my message to the team always is that there are 3 pillars of ITBD family, ITBD community. One pillar is ITBD internal, our team members that are our employees, that are our team members. And internally, that is one pillar. So one pillar of ITBD community is employees. The second pillar is our client partners, and that we really do things from our heart for them as just like family. That this internal family, internal community of employees cannot exist without client partners. And the third pillar is strategic partners, that solution pavilion that you referred to as vendors in the solutions pavilion. So that's the third pillar that we call them strategic partners community. And what I practice and preach is that these 3 pillars, they need to coexist, and if they coexist in a kind of more like a family, like a community, then you do things for each other, be there for each other from your heart, then this family will grow. And we call that as MSP family, MSP ecosystem, MSP community. And that's how everyone, like every single person that you will talk to here, receptionist, to me, to anyone else, you will see that the people, when they're going to look at this and you ask them, what is MSP community? And they will say, we have 3 pillars: employee pillar, client partners pillar, and strategic partners pillar.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Absolutely. And also thank you to Sam for tuning in from Pennsylvania. So good morning to you, Sam. Yeah, and I'll speak from my perspective. We've been talking about it, or I've been talking about it on social media and reaching out to MSPs around the world. That what made the event so different was, it's pushing the vendors, to get out of their comfort zone and create really tangible and usable workshops and templates. And that really is the value add of this event. When you think about from the MSP perspective, they're getting this opportunity to hear from vendors. There you go. I see you guys. Exactly. and I sat on some of the workshops, because vendors do similar presentations. Everybody's got the book. Similar presentations throughout the year. But when you're asking them to do a unique workshop, they've had to put in hours. I mean, I know I spoke to one vendor. They said they were going to spend between 10 and 20 hours of planning for this workshop. And so for the MSP perspective, you're hearing something really unique and new. And then those templates, I sat with many MSPs and during breakfast and lunch, and I was just asking questions about, just kind of seeing how they were feeling about things. And, the templates came up time and time again. They were just saying like that was something that was so valuable to them from this event that they were able to take those home. And I know the electronic version is editable, so, they can obviously use it. And I even talked about it, like everybody learns differently. Having the ability to write in a physical book while you're listening to somebody, so you can actually remember some of the takeaways over a 3-day, because you can forget a lot of things you heard over 3 days, and having that physical book, I think was really key. So yeah, I think, and I'm speaking truly from this, and this isn't because I was the brand ambassador for it, Sunny, I think this really cemented Build It as a go-to conference, in the sense of, you want to eventually make a conference to the point where vendors and MSPs feel like they're missing out if they're not part of it. And I think that it's there now. And, just even from a networking standpoint, both on all sides, because like you said, we're all part of this large community. it was one of the best networking events that I've been a part of. So yeah, congratulations to you, Cam, and really the whole team. I think, being part of it from the outside, I got to experience so many members of your team that were just overly nice. You have the nicest staff I've ever met, honestly.
And then you think about it, they're from Jersey, and Jersey, that doesn't go hand in hand. Like, being nice doesn't go hand in hand normally. So
I can say that.
I can say that because I spend so much time in Jersey. So
thanks to Matt as well. Matt, you did a great job in kind of reaching out to partners, and you were our brand ambassador there throughout the planning phase and execution phase and during the conference. So we truly appreciate your contributions to make this successful.
No, I appreciate it. So, Kevin, did you have a question?
I was just say one more thing about the structure of the event and doing these as workshops, not just because they're the sponsor of our podcast, Mail Protector. Got to get the little commercial in there, but I got to sit in on David's session on M&A, and what I appreciated about it, was that it was a conversation. It was a workshop. He had a framework, and he had some certain areas that he wanted to hit, but most of the time it was the audience asking questions about valuations, about range evaluation, getting into like some technicals about how to shape valuation and how to structure businesses to prepare to go through some type of M&A event. And so where often at some of these events, it's more just somebody standing up there just preaching or talking to, and maybe there's a little Q&A at the end, but this was like a very interactive, very engaged session. So I think that format you guys went with is a winner. So it's just firsthand experience. That was just awesome to see.
Yeah, just to that example there, Kevin. So you contributed with a lot of educational content, and just as an example, this workbook that we gave, a hard copy and a soft copy with so electronic version. You can see that there are so many templates that you can kind of operationalize these from the day one. Yeah. This being there, and even we gave this that you can flip from one to another, and this is like cybersecurity template that you can see. And it's like the information here is so useful. There were like 45 plus workshops, and it was 100% educational.
Yeah, and just to understand the value of those templates. I mean, there was some people who I'd reached out to about attending the event, and for a variety of reasons couldn't attend. Maybe some COVID related, but they still want you couldn't get the templates unless you attended in person. But I had a lot of people say, "Hey, can I get the templates though?" And I was like, "No, you got to come to the event to get the templates." So a lot of people definitely were after those. So one thing, and I don't think I actually ever spoke to you specifically about Gary Vee and why you all chose him, because I think, so first I'd love to ask you about your choice in him, and I actually have this really great photo of the two of you that I was able to take from LinkedIn of you guys talking. So maybe you can even tell us what you guys were talking about. But what made you choose him? And then Kevin, I'd love to hear your perspective, because I think you sort of you're aware of Gary Vee, and I'm more of a follower of Gary Vee, and so it's kind of different perspectives on going into his keynote.
Yeah, so for me, in that picture, he is asking me questions to learn more about the account. He didn't know that much about the MSPs and what are the opportunities and challenges, especially from looking at things from the marketing lens perspective. So we're just having great conversation on why of these entrepreneurs and what are what this ecosystem is all about, and why we chose him. Simply, we started our first conference with John C. Maxwell, and we started with the Hudson Cruise and then we got amazing feedback, and we were like, how to top this now? We were like stuck. And then we figured it out with from the speaker perspective and the venue being Statue of Liberty, and the same thought process is going on right now. What's next? How to top this now? But Gary Vee was #1 speaker when we chose him, and he still is. If you look at any speaking bureaus list where they rate speakers in the US, he is #1. So that was one criteria. And the second was, I'm like, there is just so much pain in the channel from the revenue engine building perspective. And the major obstacle that I see with my peers is that they continue to hire some salespeople, but not really focusing on their brand building, the marketing. And I'm like, there's one thing we can do to make a difference is educate our MSP community on how to build a successful brand organization, brand building, right? Employer branding. And that was another thing that was driving us to kind of really bring in Gary Vee to the channel for the first time.
Awesome. Yeah, no, and I'll have a couple comments. Kevin, your perspective on Gary Vee, because I know me and you were sitting next to each other during the keynote.
Yeah, I became aware of him a couple of years ago. Obviously, reading his book, Crush It, and some of the stuff that he's done. And so I was very much looking forward to getting his thoughts, just observations on this space. I think one of the best lines, if not the best line from his talk, was that sales is just bad marketing, right? I thought that was so simple but impactful, right? And that goes into his persona and what he does. I mean, he's a content marketer extraordinaire, obviously, right? He's the epitome of social media marketing, content marketing. He's always on. You get the kind of the peek behind his day, his conversations, and I think he's in a lot of ways a pioneer of how the world sells now. And so it was just great to see him dissect our collective marketplace and get his thoughts, and even an hour long, but I thought he has some really good insights, and his origin story, and we'll sort of get into yours, but his origin story is fantastic as well, right? Being son of a first generation immigrant family, and the hustle that he had to learn, and inspiration his mother provided, and the guidance, and maybe the stoicism of his father. It's just really great to hear that story and his matriculation as it related to our industry. So that was a great session for sure.
Yeah, and like I mentioned, Kevin and I were sitting next to each other, and we were front row. I made sure we were front row for that. And
he's a fanboy.
Yeah, I was fanning out. But I think actually the takeaway was, my biggest takeaway was very similar to your biggest takeaway, was like that focus on marketing, and Sunny, you hit on that as well. Because if you're doing marketing correctly, or well, I should say, sales becomes so much easier, and you're not just making phone calls, like really trying to have to not force people, but you really have to proactively try to get people engaged on your stuff, versus if you've done it over here on the marketing side, it all becomes part of a system. And even thinking back to the ID agent days, I've often gotten asked the question, what would be something maybe you would have done differently? And I struggle with that with ID agent, because we hit so many things really quickly and well, but that might have been the one thing I would now kind of look back and be like, if we maybe build a bigger marketing machine. We had great marketing, but we didn't have like a machine of content in the early stages that maybe who knows? I don't know how many more partners we would have signed at that time, but I think we could have gotten the word out even faster, or to a larger global audience at the time. And I actually had one funny moment, Sunny, with Gary. When he was walking through the hallway, I caught him real quick, and he's got this community number where that you can text him. And I said to him, I was like, "Hey, Gary, I've texted you a bunch of times. You haven't responded." And of course, I'm joking. I don't care. And he told me he gets 8,000 texts a day. So that's good marketing. You think about that. But yeah, so that was great. And Kevin, you brought up the fact that his kind of origin story was his family immigrating over here, and I think that's actually a perfect segue for Sunny. I had an opportunity when me and you were kind of touring Jersey City. You were giving me a little bit of a tour and showing me the statue, and you're showing me the Tesla that's supposed to do its own driving, and then you freaked me out when you almost hit a few people, but but for the first time I had heard your story, and you told me a little bit about it, and I'd love for you to share kind of the high level stuff on your journey to America. I mean, because I think you are one of the great examples of the American dream, and I'm sure a lot of people haven't heard your story.
Thank you, Matt. And so remember where we went to Liberty Park to shoot that video before the conference, and where we parked the Tesla, and then we were making the video. That was exactly the spot where in 1993, when I moved from my village in India, from my farm home to probably the biggest city on earth, and it was a big shock. In 93, in the first 2-3 weeks, my roommates, where I stayed for a few weeks, and I knew them from back home, they took me to the same place to show me Statue of Liberty. That, Sunny, we're going to show you a statue today. And I was like, out of 1 billion plus people in India, I made it so close to this wonder of the world. And I was so grateful. I'm like, thanks God for this opportunity. But on that day, I did not expect, I did not know, I did not see this coming, that one day I will be able to book the entire island as a kind of immigrant coming to this country in a matter of years.
Amazing.
And the emotion that I felt that day when we were celebrating Build It with our partners close to the Statue of Liberty, the emotion was that so much respect for this country, that it can only happen here. And don't let anyone tell you that American dream is dead. It is alive. You just have to work for it. You got to have that mindset, that growth mindset, that lifelong learning mindset, that agile mindset, that you're committed to work hard and really go after this dream that we always hear, the American dream. If you work for it, you do the right thing, you play with the rules, and anyone, if I can do it as an immigrant, everyone can do it. And sometimes I go have conversations with kids here, and I'm like, this is not a passport, but we used this passport during Build It for the agenda and stuff, and we just called it Build It Passport. I'm like, dude, do you know the value of American passport, you just being born here? You know how many years it took me more than a decade to just get my green card, and then 5 more years to get your passport. And just being born here, what kind of unfair advantage that you have for that American dream, for that success. But it's just you to work for it. That's what Gary Vee was saying as well. So that's where I started with, 93, seeing that statue so close, and then the journey of, few years of taxi before I got my Tesla. So taxi to tech professional to tech entrepreneurship. And that helped me kind of realize that American dream. And I feel blessed. And I feel just, I pray for this country every single day. And that day, Matt, another experience that I want to share, I'm almost in tears when I'm sharing this, is when we were looking at the DJ, he was playing that drum along with the DJs, and then I'm looking up and I see American flag. That is a symbol of freedom. I was looking to my right, and that's where the Statue of Liberty, like you're just so close, right? You're looking up here, and on the right side you have sign of freedom, symbol of freedom. On my left side, when we were looking from, facing DJ, that was Freedom Tower. Right? Freedom Tower was on our left. On the right side was statue. Up there was American flag. And the land was that land there, that piece of land is called the Liberty Island. So 4-dimensional. And I'm like, freedom all around me. And this country is so awesome and so great that it provides equal opportunities to everyone, but you got to be able to work for it. You got to not have victim mindset, but have that growth mindset that it is possible. And I tell all my kids who are born here and kids that where they are like, this person's fault, this is happening. And I'm like, just, if I can do this as an immigrant, man, you can definitely do it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's a full circle moment for you. That's really an incredible journey that you've taken in those early days, Sunny. And I think it's such a reminder to treat everybody with respect. Every person's special, and you could you could literally be working for the person that was driving the car for you that one day. Sunny, in those early days as a taxi cab driver, I don't know, any lessons learned that kind of applied over the course of your career?
Yeah, so overall, so starting with that dream big, when you are in America, American dream is a big dream. So you just have to go for that. And then lifelong learning. So having that agile mindset, that growth mindset, that you're adaptable, that you're going to learn from every single opportunity that you get, action learning from your peers, just, investing in yourself, your learning, your development. And then you mentioned respect, having that respect for people around you, right? And the people that you work with, you are pleasant to work with as a team member. And the most critical piece is having that grit, because time gets tough, right? So it's not like every day is going to be a happy day. And when it's a difficult time, and that having that grit. So it's just, and then believing in progress, not perfection, right? More gain versus gap type of concept, that you are always every day celebrating your life, staying on the gain side, celebrating your progress, but being able to transform yourself as an individual, as a human being. To every day you're becoming a better human being, more valuable human being, that you can be more useful every day. Then everything else, collaborators show up, everyone else shows up, and whatever we did this week, it's not me, it's that tribe that we have built around us, those collaborators, the team members, our client partners, our strategic partners. But if you focus on your learning, your growth, you are a lifelong learner, and you're a hardworking person, and of course, EQ, grit, respect, all those are part of the success equation, then you can really do anything. Anything is possible. Anything is possible.
Man, that's amazing. So you've built an empire on the shores of the Hudson. What's next for you guys? Where are you going? What's 2022 and beyond look like for you?
Yeah, so our mantra, Kevin, is that T3 model that I shared, that every day is just being transformational, that we take the 90-day view. We don't look at, we do have, EOS as part of EOS, the VTO and everything, 1 year picture, 3 years, 5 years. But the way I internally work with the team is that, yes, we got to have 1 year plan. And our 1 year plan is, so right now we are 600 plus people globally, and it's 1 year plan is it's going to be over 1,000, and our 3 year plan is over 2,000 people, company, master MSP. But we look at 90-day view, and 90 days what is defined and clearly defined, and just staying on the winning side, that if every quarter we are net positive, then we got to celebrate that. Even if we did not meet our revenue targets, as long as we are net positive top line and our bottom line EBITDA, then even if we did not meet our goals, we're going to celebrate. we are always going to be on the winning side or the learning side. We will never be on the losing side. No team member at ITBD will be on the losing side. It's either learning side or winning side. And 90-day is that timeline that we determined to win or learn and be transformational with those 3 T's: talent, training, and tools. So that's how I look at it. I mean, I don't think too far, like in terms of, 5 years, 10 years. Is that 1, 3, and 5-year picture as part of VTO, and that's 2,000 people company. And overall, it's a 90-day celebration, winning, and learning exercise.
Excellent.
That's awesome. See, Kevin, you could learn something from Sunny when you always would call me a loser all the time. I'm just kidding.
I don't know if it's necessarily say it that way.
I'm just kidding.
I different adjectives at times, but
yeah. No, I'm kidding.
It's the same one twice.
Yeah, and Sunny, I want to. Obviously, I'm kidding. I wanted to make sure you felt the love from some of the people listening out there. David, CEO of Mail Protector, said, loves your story. Rings so true to all the entrepreneurs I've come to know and love that came up in under communism in Eastern Europe. They seem to understand the American dream more than we do. And George also said that he relates to your story big time as someone who grew up in a communist country during the Cold War. So, yeah, I mean, so Sunny, I feel like you may have found your keynote for 2022 yourself. I mean, your story is unbelievable. So, yeah. And Sunny, you mentioned the Statue of Liberty experience. Actually, wanted to bring up. I brought up a picture because I wanted people to understand like the view that we like had when you went up the stairs. They had this kind of overview, and it's just unbelievable view that you're able to capture with that American flag, as you said, Sunny, looking at Lady Liberty. So it was, just quite an experience. I'd been hyping it up, telling people it was once in a lifetime type of experience to be there, certainly during a private event. And you got all the good feels being there, and certainly made you proud to be part of the country, that we're here. So.
Such a proud moment. That was such a proud, moment of proud for, overall. Just looking at that flag and looking at statue, and it just kind of fills my heart.
Absolutely. Well, Sunny. So Kevin, I don't know, is there any other areas that you wanted to hit today? Because I know we want to be cognizant of Sunny's time and.
Yeah, no, I think we hit the big ones. I mean, it was such an impactful and powerful event, this last week, and. Just well done. You guys just did an amazing job, and story and what you've achieved and what you will achieve in the future. Here's to that, because it was just, I was honored to be a part of just the experience itself. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, I want to just add one thing from Gary Vee's keynote. So I was taking notes as well. And Kevin, what you mentioned there, that sales is a bad marketing. I mean, that was like, it just, it's like in one line.
It's perfect.
And everything, right?
Yeah.
And so my takeaways from that session, I just want to share with your viewers there, Matt. I mean, it aligns with that line that Kevin shared. Is revenue solves a lot of your other business sins, a lot of other business problems. And he did talk about 25 hours on LinkedIn, right? Mm-hmm. So you can spend 10 hours, 25. That's is whatever you want to do based on your time that you want to invest. But the point was that rather than having any kind of a commercial, looking at things when you're using LinkedIn for your brand building. Looking at everything that you share there with educational lens and giving that context, right? There's just so much information out there. If we can provide that context, make our customers' voice relate to the education that we're providing and giving them that context in their vertical, their business, I think that was my takeaway. That and I truly believe in that concept of revenue solving a lot of your other business problems. And when you have money to solve the problem, then there is no problem, right? Money gives you options. Yeah. So I just wanted to share that what I wrote down from Gary Vee's, that everything as an owner is your problem. No matter, you cannot just blame anyone, right? So everything happening as you being the business owner, the CEO, the lead, the position that you take, everything is, it could be good, bad, ugly. It's your problem. And if you want to solve that problem, you need treasure. And if you want to have that, you got to be very intentional about revenue and your bottom line. And back to you.
Absolutely. No, those are great points. I wish I had those lines back in my ID agent days, and if there was ever something maybe I didn't sign enough partners, I can be like, "This is your fault. You're the owner."
I think you said that quite a few times anyway. So
probably,
yeah.
But I thought the other thing, now that you brought up Gary Vee again, I started thinking about some of the questions that got asked, and this is something that Kevin and I talk about all the time anyways, but Gary Vee just like really drove it home. A lot of MSP owners still struggle with whether they should be the voice for their company versus the company. In the social media environments like LinkedIn, you really do need to be, if you're comfortable, like, and he was saying, if you're not comfortable, don't do it. But like, the reality is you're the value prop in many cases, you're part of the value prop. They connect to you as the human being, and like Sunny, your story and things like that. They're not going to feel the same way if it was over here on the company side, and they don't follow it and they don't engage with it quite the same way. So that personal branding is absolutely critical. Jack Daly doubled down on that. I mean, he talked about it as well, on how important it was for his journey. And so, having that, I guess, wherewithal to recognize that, put yourself out there if you're comfortable doing it, and become part of the brand for your company, because you can drive, you might be surprised on how much business you can drive as you start to become a leader out there in the social media space. And that 25 hours was really interesting. Yeah, I mean, he was, to kind of recap it for everybody, it was really talking about, well, it was specifically talking about LinkedIn ads. And he was saying, this is the place that you should be spending money from a B2B perspective, because of the way you can narrow down, the target and everything like that. And he was saying, spend 25 hours mastering LinkedIn ads. And just how many of us don't, we'll spend money on ads, but we've never taken the time to really study on what's going to actually work. And so then you end up spending money. It doesn't work because you didn't really learn how to do it. And now it feels like a wasted effort. So yeah, there was a lot of great takeaways from there.
Yeah, so Matt, there's one more problem that it solves. That is the talent problem. So what we're saying here, what do you do on LinkedIn? Because if you are even having a hard time attracting top talent, like your sales talent, right? Mm-hmm. If you are out there and your employer brand is there on social, then you will be able to attract a lot of salespeople. So it comes to that, my T3 methodology that I have shared, the talent problem, the first T, right? It solves, if you do something on LinkedIn and employer branding as a result or is a byproduct, and because of that, a lot of talent that you can attract to solve your sales problem or your technical talent problems, because people, when they see the culture of the company, when they see the brand, they see that you're out there, that they get that visibility, that transparency, and as a result, they become your potential hires.
No, absolutely. And actually, Todd from IT by Design, he gave me, I asked a bunch of the people who participated in the workshops to give me like one takeaway from their workshop, and I'm going to put it a recap in a newsletter. And actually, Todd kind of hit on this a little bit. He said, treat your talent recruit with the same level of attention and methods as you do your client marketing. Use targeted digital marketing, get in front of passive candidates. And the reason I brought that up is, partially because of what you said, but also because right now, I mean, Kevin, we've heard it from both sides, the vendor and the MSP side. There is this issue around hiring talent right now. And I don't think we treat it the same way. We don't really get out there actively and kind of promote yourself for future talent. It's usually you put up a job posting and, when you're looking to hire.
Yep. Yeah. So. It's recruiting and sales and everything these days. It's all social. And if you can create a good brand and good image and put yourself out there, that's what people want to see, right? It's there are few brands that people resonate just personally. I mean, there's some, but
I mean, Chano Halo, obviously, but whatever.
I don't know if really anybody's heard of that one yet, but no, I'm kidding. But no, but people want to rally around others that inspire them, right? And so that's part of it, and that goes for sales, that goes for just personal relationships, it goes for marketing, right? So yeah, it's and recruiting. So that's well said with that. That was a good comment.
Absolutely. Well, Sunny, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you just had a huge event, so to spend any time right now, we certainly appreciate it. You truly are one of the nicest people in the channel, and I think we're all better for knowing you. And so, thank you so much for everything you do.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Kevin, and have an awesome weekend.
You do
Thanks.
the same.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks.